Why is the right to silence important?
It's important because if you're being investigated by a committee or the police, generally speaking, you have a right not to incriminate yourself. So you have a right not to answer any questions. And this right is a kind of a sacrosanct right, and it's been preserved and defended for the last 300 or 400 years, even longer actually, I should say, across the democracies everywhere in the world, and in many other countries as well that are not democratic. It's your right to not answer any questions put to you when there's an allegation being made against you.
What is the right to silence?
Right to silence is your right under the Constitution not to answer any questions put to you. It dates back like many hundreds of years to the 15th century to Edward Coke. He was a lawyer during the time of the monarchy, and at that time the monarchy had a right to command you to answer questions. There was the ecclesiastical courts in the UK. They could also launch inquiries against people. And if you didn't answer questions, it was deemed that you were guilty of an offense. And Edward Coke, is really the guy who's regarded by many as being the person who stood up, not just to the monarchy. They tried to buy him off, but he wouldn't be bought. He was too principled. But also to the ecclesiastical courts, and said, no, just because I don't answer a question, it should not infer any guilt on my behalf.
Can your silence be used against you?
No, it can't. You often see in criminal trials where a person is under interview and the interview notes might be read out to the jury. But if the person invokes their right to silence and answers each question with no comment, no comment, no comment, that's not, the state are not entitled to draw any inferences from that. They can't say to the jury or to the judge that you can draw a negative inference that because this person wouldn't answer any questions. A person may refuse to answer questions for any number of different reasons, but it doesn't mean that they're guilty. Maybe they're paranoid, possibly, or they're upset, or they're scared. And all these things have been shown over the centuries to be reasons why people don't answer questions. But it's not an inference of guilt, and nothing can be inferred from that.
How do I invoke my right to remain silent?
You have to vocalize it by saying, I'm invoking my right to silence. As a citizen is entitled to do. And it's a constitutionally protected right. You'll sometimes see it at committee meetings in the House of Representatives, Senate meetings where corporations are brought before the Congress to answer questions like, Enron scandals, things like that, tax issues, pollution. If certain questions are put by committee chairmen or members of a committee to a CEO of a company, that CEO can say that on the advices of their counsel that they're invoking their right to silence and not to particularly answer that question because it may incriminate them in some way.